Live is on. Welcome everyone to this, what day is it? Tuesday, June the 9th. The year is flying by. So let's make sure we make the most of this time. Make sure we make the most of every moment. We are ready to start this live. We're going to start this live sooner than you think. Hope everybody's had a great day thus far. Y'all know what time it is. Around this time every single day we do this live. If the time changes, I'll let you know. If it ain't happening, I'll let you know. But if I don't say nothing, it's happening. So y'all are here. It's happening. We're going to get started in like 30 seconds. We're going to wait a short moment for some people to check in. Then we're going to go right into it. Y'all see what the topic here is today. It's fitting that we're doing this on social media. If you're watching this on Facebook, you can still hit the like on the video, even though the topic is stop needing to be liked. You can still hit the like on the video. You can still share this to your feed, your timeline, not your feed, your timeline. And you can leave a comment on Facebook, Instagram. You can tap the screen for the likes. Y'all do that later anyway. And you can leave a comment, check in, and we're going to get started in like 10 seconds. I'm going to introduce myself, introduce the topic. Then we get right into the material. We actually had great weather here today in Miami. It's mostly great weather all day, finally. It's been kind of rainy season out here, but we out here, finally, with good weather. So, for those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, former 9-year professional athlete, author of 26 books. I've done 4 TED Talks. I've published over 15,000 pieces of content online. That's via almost half of that is through video. The other half is through written content. And then there's another small pocket. And when I say small pocket, I'm talking over 1,500 rather. Audio masterclass episodes that y'all call a podcast. That's on all the podcasting platforms. And that's not even talking about these lives, which I've done probably 1,000, maybe 2,000 of these live streams. I do all this under this umbrella, this thing called Work on Your Game. It's a philosophy that I created when I was playing sports, but it applies to business, sports, and life, how to take the mindset of a professional athlete and how to apply that mentality to your business, to your sport, and to your life. That's what Work on Your Game is all about. One of the books that I've written is called Work on Your Game. That's this book right here. I'll tell you about this in a minute. What's going on, Nick? I appreciate you. You've been watching since you was in middle school. You about to graduate. Oh, you just graduated high school. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody who graduated. And who Work on Your Game is for? This whole everything I talk about goes under Work on Your Game. Work on Your Game is for 3 specific types of people. Number 1, shout out to Ben from the UK over there on Facebook. For the people who need more skill and more game. You just need to get better at what you do. Number 2, the people who have game, but you feel like you're not performing. You're not showing your game at the level that you want to show your game. You just need to show more your game when it matters. And number 3, the people who feel like you have game and you're showing it, but you're not being recognized the way you want to be recognized. So that's the 3rd type of person. So if you need more skill, you want to perform better, or you just need more recognition, Work on Your Game is for you. One of those 3 types of people. What we're going to talk about here today is how you can be recognized, still get the recognition that you're looking for without having this need, this internal desire for you to always be liked. And when I put liked in quotation marks there, you can see in the topic on Instagram. You can see that also over there on Facebook. This need to be liked that a lot of us have, that is driven partially. We got to give some of the credit to social media, the credit or the blame, depending on the way that you want to look at it. Because on social media, how do we measure how popular something is or how well something is doing? By how many likes it gets or how many comments or how many views or engagement. Just how much do you get other people to appreciate what you are doing? The thing with needing people to appreciate or wanting people to appreciate what you're doing, I mean, innately it makes sense, right? You want somebody to appreciate it. I mean, if you got something to offer and nobody appreciates it, then you're probably not going to do it for too long. But what you need to understand is that sometimes in life, actually all the time in life, if you decide to take a stand and you decide to hold a position in anything that you're doing, especially if you have a strong opinion, some people are going to be pissed off. Some people are not going to like it. Some people will not agree. And you got to be okay with that. You got to be all right with some people not being on board with everything that you like or everything that you say or everything that you represent, because everything ain't for everybody and everybody ain't for everything. Now, it used to be that we wanted to be liked by the person who was in front of us or the person who was on the block, the neighborhood that we're from. We wanted to be liked by our immediate environment. Now, with the internet, now we want to be liked by everybody. All right, now we want everybody in the world to like us, and you want to have 20 million people liking you and everybody out here appreciating you and everybody who's using the hashtag following you and feeling what you have to say. The challenge is it's impossible to get everybody to like you. It's impossible to get everybody to agree with you. It's impossible to get everybody to be on the same page as you. Not everybody. Now, you can have a lot of people whatever you consider to be a lot. But it's impossible to get everyone to agree with everything that you have going on. You got to be okay with the fact that not everyone is always going to agree with you. Everybody's not always going to feel you. And because of who you are, where you're from, maybe what you represent, what you agree with, what you don't agree with, what you do, what you don't do, the clothes you wear, the drinks you drink, the food that you eat, the color that you are, the religion that you are, everybody's not always going to like you. You got to be okay with that and be okay with being liked by the people who do like you and the people who matter the most to you. And I'm going to explain exactly what I mean by all of that as we get into this topic. Point number one, understand that people who've engineered the idea that we should all strive to be liked, that's the people behind these apps that we're using right now and whatever apps you got on your phone, they create this. They have this algorithm that keeps you addicted to reloading and refreshing that feed to see how many people liked you, how many people followed you, how many people left a comment, how many people responded to whatever you posted or whatever you got going on. Y'all know what the metrics are. Their job, their business is to get you thinking that. All right, that's what they get paid to do. They get paid to make you think you need to spend as much time as possible on these so that you get liked. Understand that you don't get paid. You don't get paid for accepting it. They get paid for getting you on it. You don't get paid for being on it. So as they say in poker, and I don't know if any of you knows how to play poker, or maybe some of you have heard the saying. I don't know how to play poker, but I've heard the saying that if you're sitting at the table for 30 minutes and you don't know who the sucker is, that means you're the sucker. So when it comes to these platforms that have you thinking that you need to spend more time or put out more stuff or do things that are going to get you liked and get you accepted by other people, understand that their game is to keep you on the app. All right, it's not necessarily that you gain anything from it, that you get any better because of it. It's just to keep you on the app. That's their game. That's what they get paid for. That's the engineers that Mark Zuckerberg hires to work in these platforms. Their job is to keep you addicted. All right, and they do a very good job of it. That's why I know when I go live, some of y'all are going to be on here. And even if you miss it, you'll watch the replay. So remember that everybody has a game. In life, every human being has an angle. Everybody knows what they're going after. You might not know what your angle is, but the people you come across, when they got game, all right, they know what their angle is. They know what their goal is. They know what they're here for. They know what they're trying to get done. They know these things. If you don't know, you need to figure out what your game is, because somebody is going to use you for their game if you don't know how to use yourself for your game. All right. As the saying goes, if you don't have a plan for your own life, somebody else has a plan to use you to achieve their goals in their life. So you got to know what your game is, know where your game is taking you, why your game exists, what's the plan for your game, what are the milestones along the way for that game, and who's accountable for it. Who should be held accountable for everything going on in that game of your life. They know it. You need to know what yours is. You ever come across somebody who kind of hustled you, they kind of played you, they suckered you, you didn't know what was going on, and it was too late by the time you really figured out what the game was they were playing on you? Well, make sure it doesn't happen to you again, because as the saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I'm reminding y'all that there is always a game being played in everything that you do in life. Know who the sucker is at the table. If you don't know, then it's you. Point number two. The topic here today is stop trying to be liked. When we don't know what we really want, here's the problem. Here's the problem with people when you don't really know what you want in life, when you don't know what you're after, you don't know what your aim is that we default to doing things that we know will be accepted. If you have no idea where you want to go and where you want to end up in life, you'll do something that you know will be accepted because you get the feedback from other people who tell you, oh, that's cool. And people are accepting of what you're doing and nodding their head. They're letting you be because you're doing something that's accepted. When you know exactly what you want, you're probably going to have to push some people out of the way to get there. You're probably going to have to beat somebody out to get to the spot you want to get to, especially if we're talking in the business world or the sports world. Somebody's going to have to lose in some ways in order for you to win, especially in the sports world. It's a zero-sum game. In sports, especially team sports, everybody can't make the basketball team. Everybody cannot make the Olympic team. Everybody can't be on the baseball club. Everybody can't succeed. Everybody can't win the championship every season, which means somebody got to fail in order for somebody else to win. And being that it's a zero-sum game, you must be willing to not to immorally or do anything illegal or violate anybody's rights, but in the process of going after what you want, somebody got to fall. Somebody got to lose. Somebody got to come up short. And when you know what you really want, you're all right with somebody losing, falling, or coming up short in the process of you winning and succeeding and getting the thing that you want. Why? Because it means that much to you. You know that you want it bad enough. You're willing to push other people out of the way. Again, in a moral way, within the rules of whatever the game is, within the law of the land, in order to get the thing that you want, because you know what you want. When you don't know what you want, you default to only doing things that are acceptable. See, when you only do things that are acceptable, you probably won't be willing to push anybody out of the way, because you don't need to, there's nowhere that you need to get bad enough that you'll push somebody out of the way to get there. There's nothing that you need to achieve bad enough that you're willing to see somebody else lose in order for you to get it, because you haven't decided on what your chief aim is going to be. Napoleon Hill, in his book Think and Grow Rich, any of you who hasn't read that book, you can download it off the internet probably somewhere for free right now, or you could buy it on Amazon, whatever. In Napoleon Hill's book Think and Grow Rich, he talks about this. The starting point of achievement for any human being is having a definite chief aim. Alexander over there on Facebook, I appreciate you. I appreciate the love. Definite chief aim, what does that mean? Knowing where you're going, knowing why you're going there, knowing what your plan is for getting there, and knowing who is accountable for you getting there. Of course, you're fully accountable, but if there's anybody else involved, if you got a team, if you got a partner, a husband or a wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, you got kids involved, if you have people who work for you, if you work for somebody else, if you got a business partner, y'all working together, whatever it is, you got a full accountability. You know exactly who's responsible for what. You know what are the steps along the way to get from point A to point Z. And you know exactly what you're trying to do. You know what the outcome is, and you know when you have reached the outcome, because you have a specific way of knowing, all right, when this happens and this happens, or we have this much or that much, that's how we know we have actually reached the outcome. Napoleon Hill talked about, so again, Think and Grow Rich. The starting point of human achievement is having a definite chief aim in life. If you do not have a definite chief aim, it doesn't mean that you can't achieve. It means you need to figure it out. Your first order of business needs to be figuring out what that definite chief aim is, so then you can focus your actions and your energies and your time, the most valuable resource that you have, into what you're going to be doing. When you do not have a focus of your time, energy, attention, money, and focus, what happens is, again, you're going to do something that's acceptable, something that's okay, something that doesn't get in anybody's way, something that nobody could possibly disagree with. Why? Because what reason do you have to do anything else? You're just going to default to doing something that, whatever comes to mind, but it's usually going to be something that is acceptable by other people. The problem is when everything that you do and say and think is acceptable by everybody, when it's accepted by the masses, the problem is you blend in. You fall in line with the rest of the masses, and you can't stand out and blend in at the same time. And if you want to achieve higher than the average person in life, you're going to have to do something that makes you stand out, which means you're going to have to believe in something or do something or represent something that somebody is not going to agree with. Because as soon as you step out of line of doing what the masses do, somebody's going to question it. Somebody may attack it. Somebody may try to sabotage it. Somebody may try to slow you down from getting there simply because you're doing something other than what everybody else does. Everybody's heard of the saying of crabs in a barrel, right? That if you put a bunch of crabs inside of a barrel and one of the crabs starts to crawl out, what happens? All the other crabs grab it and pull it back down to the bottom of the barrel. Why? We don't know why. We can't read the minds of crabs, so we don't know why they keep doing it. But this is what happens whenever you try to pull yourself out of where all the masses are at. Which means when you do something other than what, quote, everybody, close quote, is doing, somebody's going to attack it. Somebody's going to have a problem. Somebody's going to have something to say. Somebody's going to try to slow you down. You must believe in whatever it is that you're doing strongly enough that you can hear the rumblings coming from the masses, the cackling from the peanut gallery, and still do your thing. Still do the thing that you want to do. Still have conviction about it. Still be thorough about it. Still go after what you want, and damn anybody who has a problem with it. If you're not willing to feel that way about what you're doing, it's not because you are not dedicated, or it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's probably because you're not doing something that you're really bought in on. You're not really all in on it. You're more concerned with the like coming from the audience than you are with the achievement of wherever it is you're trying to go. And if you find yourself caring more about people liking you than you do about achieving your outcome, you probably should re-examine your definite chief aim. Where do I actually want to go? What do I really want to do? When you are really in on what you really want to do, it doesn't matter if half the people that you come across disagree, or they don't like it, or they tell you you're doing the wrong thing, because you are that convicted. You have that much conviction about what you want to do that it doesn't matter if people disagree. And then once you achieve it, here's what happens, especially if you're trying to do something that people don't know, they can't really tell if you could do it. Maybe they've never seen it before, maybe they never heard of it before. So they're going to try to stop you from doing it, not because they think you can't, but because they don't understand. They can't imagine somebody doing the thing that you're trying to do. But as soon as you achieve it, everybody's going to be like, wow, I never considered for that to be possible. I didn't know anybody could do it. But as soon as you do it, now it's done. Now everybody's like, damn, okay, now I see. Now I see that it can be done. Now everybody's going to get behind you. So in life, people are quick to slow you down or stop you before you begin, but everybody will get out of your way once you have momentum and you have started. That's the way it works in life. Point number 3. The topic here today is stop trying to be liked, or get rid of your need to be liked. I want you to remember to not confuse truth with popularity. Now, this is something that on social media, depending on how much time y'all spend on social media, you see things that can become popular are not always necessarily true. And things that are true are not always necessarily popular. Very rarely do you get something that's both at the exact same time. Because the truth, as the saying goes, a lie can make it halfway around the world before the truth even puts his pants and his shoes on, right? Things that are true and things that are real and things that matter the most to you they probably will not start off as popular as maybe they end up. Things that are popular these days and mainstream and everyone accepts them are many of those things when they first started out, people said that makes no sense. I don't see it. Never heard of anything like that. Never seen anything like that. I don't see how anybody could possibly do that. But then once it happened, once it became real, everybody was like, oh, now I see. Now it makes sense. Now I understand. Now I can buy into that. Now I'll co-sign for that. Now I will vouch for that. Now I'll cape up and advocate for it because it now exists. So when you start out doing something for the first time that's never been done before, maybe it's never been done by a female, or it's never been done by somebody of color, or it's never been done by somebody from your country, or nobody from your family has ever done it before, or nobody's ever done it the way that you want to do it. Nobody at your age has ever done it before. And then you start to go after it. People are going to be like, man, that makes no sense. I know it can be done, but you can't do it. Not from here. Not you, not with your background, not with the things that you've been through in your life, not with the information that you have, not with the way that you want to do it. You can't do it. So they're going to try to hold you back. Some people may try to slow you down, not because they're trying to hate on you, but because they don't understand what they don't understand. And this is the way that it works in life. When you're trying to do something that's brand new, again, or maybe just brand new to your way of doing it, people are going to try to stop you because they're trying to keep you from failing. Or at least that's what they think they're doing. They predict that you're going to fail. So instead of letting you fail, they try to slow you down. They try to tell you, hey, don't do that. Do something that's a little bit more acceptable. But once you go and achieve it, people are like, oh, okay, now I see. Now it exists. Now it makes sense. Now everybody else is going to be willing to follow you because you were the one who stepped up and actually made it happen. You made it into something real. And this is not for everybody. I want y'all to understand this is not something that everybody's going to be able to do in life. Only a few people are going to be able to create something brand new out of nothing and make it into something real to the point that other people see it and say, damn, okay, that it actually is a real thing. I can actually do it. So do not confuse truth, your truth, with what's popular. So when I say truth, I don't mean life truth, because everybody has different, these days people argue what's a fact and what's not a fact, right? And facts are not supposed to be arguable. And when it comes to truth, it's the exact same thing. So I'm not saying truth as it exists in the absolute sense, but your personal truth. Whatever's personally true to you, don't confuse that with what's popular with everybody, quote unquote, everybody out there. Because if it's really true to you and it's something that hasn't been seen before, it's not going to be popular. How can it be popular if nobody even knows that it exists? Hasn't been done before. So you have to have the mental discipline and the skill of discernment to understand that being liked is not the same thing as being respected. There are a lot of people who are liked. Doesn't mean that they're respected. Being respected means people understand that you have your own personal convictions, your own beliefs, and you're going to do what you want to do. They don't have to like it, but they got to respect it. And they're going to move out of your way, and they will not stop you from doing what you want to do. Otherwise, you're going to have to move them out of your way, if you understand what I'm saying. So being liked and being respected, not the same thing. They're not the same as being effective, and not the same thing as being productive, and it's definitely not the same thing as producing a result. And I want y'all to remember, for those of y'all who may not know my content that well, I say all the time when I talk about work on your game that this is a results-based and performance-based business. I should say that the other way. You perform and then you produce results. If you are not performing at a high level, then you will be out of business. And if you are not producing results at a high level and you're not doing it consistently, you will be out of business. And when I say out of business, I'm not talking about necessarily that you have to own a company. You can have a job. If you got a job and you don't perform consistently and you're not producing the right results at your job, what happens? You get fired from that job. If you're trying to get a job and you're not performing at a high level while you're trying to get the job and you're not producing results while you're trying to get the job, do you even get hired? No, of course you don't. If you're an entrepreneur, you're a freelancer, and your performance and your results are not consistent, people don't know what they're going to get from you. Is somebody going to hire you? Of course not. You're playing sports and you don't perform consistently. What happens is you stop getting in the game. This is the way that it works in life. It is a performance-based business and a results-based business. I want you to understand that performing and producing results are not the same thing as being liked. Right now, there's a lot of people talking about, there's a lot of racial unrest going on, especially on the internet, is where I'm seeing it the most going on in the United States of America. Abraham Lincoln was the person who was credited with freeing the slaves and ending slavery in the United States, right? Abraham Lincoln was not liked by a whole lot of political people during his time, because a whole lot of people like, this guy's trying to destroy the economy of the South. Because I mean, obviously everybody knows that slavery existed, but what people often don't think about is that slavery, when it existed in the U.S. South, that was the economy. The economy was built on slavery. You got all of these human beings working for free. They're not getting paid. And it was helping these Southern people, these plantation owners, make a lot of money because they didn't have to pay their employees. Imagine if all the slaves were actually getting paid a minimum wage, whatever minimum wage would have been at that time. Those same owners would not have been making as much money because they would have had the expense of having to pay their staff. But because they didn't have to pay their staff, they had all this free labor. Just imagine any of you who works at a job right now. Imagine if all the people who work there just had to work and they didn't have to get paid. How much money would the owners get to keep? A whole lot. So when Lincoln was talking about getting rid of slavery, the reason why so many people in the South, the Confederacy, fought against the Union was not because so much that they were like, oh, we hate these black people, we want to keep them slaves. It was because of the money they were making. It wasn't about now, could some of those people probably have been racist? I think we can agree to that to this day, looking back, knowing what we know. But the main thing that was really driving the Confederacy to want to say the Confederacy was the money that they were making. And I'm bringing all this up to tell you this: when Lincoln wanted to end slavery, it wasn't those plantation owners owning of black people that they were so concerned about. It was the money that they were going to lose. That's what really got their attention. And if you want to look up why any large group of people is doing something and it doesn't quite make sense to you, and you don't understand why they would even think that way, it's about the money. So I don't know what they're teaching in school these days when they talk about slavery, but it wasn't really about these white people hating black people, and I'm sure there were plenty of them who did. It was really about the money that they were getting to keep in their pockets. So when Lincoln said, I'm getting rid of it, he was very unpopular for that. Even some people in the North, some people who didn't even own slaves, didn't want to get rid of slavery for whatever reason. Y'all can read the books and learn about these things, but it was the fact that Lincoln was super unpopular, but he was already president. So it wasn't anything they could do about it to stop him. He was already president. He was able to stop that from happening. He was able to stop slavery when the Union won the war over the Confederacy, but he was after results. He was after, this is the result that I want, and this is what I'm going to do to get it. And he was willing to sacrifice his popularity in order to produce a result. Now, at this time, I think that story is a perfect story for what we got going on in America right now. He's willing to sacrifice being popular, sacrifice being liked by a lot of his political cohorts because he was willing to produce a specific result, which was ending this system of slavery in the southern United States. And damn it, he made it happen. So we got to thank Abraham Lincoln for that, because who knows where we would be if he had not been able to achieve that outcome. If he was more concerned with being liked than he was with producing the result, who knows where we would be right now. So all that being said, I'm going to recap these points. Then I'm going to tell you about these books that I got here in front of me. Then I'm going to answer any questions if we got any questions coming up. So the topic here today is stop needing to be liked. How important is it for you to be liked? Looking around at your life, whether on the internet, off the internet, are you more concerned with being liked, or are you more concerned with producing results? That's a question that you got to answer for yourself. Point number one, the people who've engineered these platforms that got you striving to be liked, understand their job is to engineer you wanting to be liked. It's not because you actually need it. It's because they're engineers and they create algorithms that are smarter than all of us. And that's why we can't get off these platforms even when we want to. Point number two, we don't know. When we don't know what we really want in life, we default to doing things that are acceptable, things that people are okay with, things that don't ruffle any feathers. But when you're serious about what you want, you know what you want, you have conviction about it, you're willing to move other people out the way, even piss some other people off just to get the outcome that you want in your life. And that means sometimes, in some cases, and by some people, not being liked at all. Question is, are you okay with that? Point number three, do not confuse truth with popularity. And when I say truth, I mean your personal truth, not the truth of what you can get a bunch of people to agree with. Because these days, people can't even agree on facts, let alone can we agree on truth. I'm talking about your personal truth. When you know what your personal truth is, don't confuse chasing your truth or going after your truth or living your truth with doing something that's popular. Because doing something that's popular means you need to get a lot of people to agree with you. Something that is your personal truth, a lot of people may not agree with it at all. Again, Abraham Lincoln, a lot of people did not agree with him wanting to get rid of slavery because it was costing It was a big industry that was making a lot of people a lot of money, and him destroying that was hurting the economy completely. And a lot of people didn't like that about Abraham Lincoln. And they said there's a lot of negative things people said about Lincoln back in the day. But as they say, history books are written by the victors, so you don't get to hear a whole lot of it. But if you dig enough, you probably find that information. All that being said, this takes mental discipline, a skill of discernment and judgment. Understanding being liked is not the same as being respected, is not the same as being effective, and is not the same as producing actual results. We are in a results-based business here in this life. Focus on producing results, not focus on being liked. I guarantee you, you will get more personal fulfillment, satisfaction from what you do in life if you focus on getting a specific result that you care about. Not one that somebody else designed for you, but one that you care about more than you focus on how much can you be liked, how much can you be approved of by other people. All that being said, let me tell you about these 2 books I got in front of me. Let me tell you how you can get either one of these books for free right now. This right here is The Mirror of Motivation, the self-guide to self-discipline. I've already bought the book. I'll give it to you for free. All you do is take care of the shipping. Let me tell you what this book is. I created this book for anybody who wants to step out of the old version of you, step into the new version, step into a new way of being, which will change your energy. When you change your energy, do the same actions, you will get completely different results because you're ready to step into a new version of you. Change your being, the way that you see yourself, your energy, the way that you walk into a room, the way you carry yourself, the confidence you have in yourself, your self-assurance, that innate energy, that something energy that some people have and you don't quite know exactly what it is, but you can tell something different about them. If you want to be that type of person, you want this book. It's called The Mirror of Motivation, Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. How many pages is this? 166 pages. I will ship it to you worldwide, anywhere that you live. Just go to mirrorofmotivation.com. The book is already paid for. You take care of the shipping. Mirrorofmotivation.com. This book right here, it's called The Overseas Basketball Blueprint. I wrote this for anybody who wants to play professional basketball overseas. Even if you came from a small school, no school, an undecorated background, you've been overlooked your whole career, but you feel you have the talent to play pro ball overseas and you want to live out your dreams and do what 99% of athletes never do, which is play professional sports and get paid for it, go to balloverseas.com. The book's already paid for. It's a 237-page book. Everything you need to know, everything you need to do, and everything you need to not do. The stuff you should avoid. Balloverseas.com. This book is shipping to you worldwide, anywhere you live. Just tell me where to ship it. The book's paid for. You take care of the shipping. All that said, let's see what we got in the comment section. Alexander Kalinov said, I've been a fan since the beginning. Thanks for all the tips and the hustle throughout the years. You helped me a lot when I was a kid playing ball in high school and crushing it. I appreciate you, Alexander, over there. That's on Facebook. On IG, we got Belize in the house. Nick said, I've been watching you. Oh, yeah, I shouted him out earlier. Shout out to Nick. I don't know if we got any other comments. JN said, in the words of Boosie, everyone want to be chief, but somebody got to beat Indians. Yeah, that's true. I heard Lil Boosie saying some wild stuff on the internet a couple weeks ago. That was funny. Andy checking in from Cali. What's good? Somebody said, how do you deal with difficult people? Listen to the Work on Your Game show. Masterclass every day. Let's see. Someone said, how to gain exposure. Read my book, Work on Your Game. Right here. I told you, work on your game. 3 types of people. Performance. First of all, game. Second of all, performance. Third, exposure and attention. So get the book, Work on Your Game. You get this at workonyourgamebook.com. Anybody who has a challenge with exposure. JN says, would you say that people who always have to remind everyone that they don't care if anyone likes them, would you say that they really do care? It depends on context. I can't really say. I mean, because that will require you to read another person's mind, and you can't read another person's mind. So we can only judge people off their actions. So all you can say for sure is that they always say that because you heard them say it, but you can't judge what somebody is thinking. When people start to get into claiming that they know another person is thinking, they stepping on thin ice. You can't read another person's mind. Andre Penny, what's going on? Saleh said, I already got the book. Oh, did you read the book? Now you got to read it. All right, you got it. Now, step 2, read that book. And then go to Work on Your Game University, and you can get my masterclass. I put out a masterclass every single day that is called the Work on Your Game Masterclass. It's called y'all call it a podcast, but it's the Work on Your Game Masterclass. That's at Work on Your Game University. We got over, Saleh, I believe that was the person asking this question. We got over 1,500 episodes right here in this Google Doc. This is a list of every episode that has ever come out of this show. And there's over 1,500. I just recorded several of them today. That's 1,500 that I just scrolled through. I just happened to scroll fast. So you were asking how to get exposure. Was that the question? I think the question was how to get exposure. Yeah, how to gain exposure. I've done a lot of episodes on exposure and attention. So if that's what you're looking for, then this class has already got it covered. It depends on what you're trying to get exposure for. If you're looking for exposure, you got to step your game up. It's episode 666. So I've talked about this in many different ways. I'm just looking through this right here to see what I got about the subjects of exposure and attention. I got at least 14 episodes on attention, another 4 or 5 on exposure. So I got probably about, let's say 30 minutes. It's probably about 10 hours worth of material just in this document alone on attention and exposure. The art of drawing attention, Masterclass 1511. Number 1459. Or paying attention to detail, giving attention where you're not getting it, 1428, learning to pay attention, 1272, attention span, lengthening your attention span, number 848, and also 1040, how to pay less attention to other people, 802, focus versus attention is 795, can't afford to get caught not paying attention, 697, getting the right kind of attention, 587, that's the one you need. I talked about LeVar Ball, why he's good at getting attention. Number 444, attention being the new money. So I talked about it. I ain't even gonna list all these. There's too many of them. But in this masterclass document that I got right here, I tell you all the times that I've talked about it. So workonyourgameuniversity.com, workonyourgameu.com. That's where you get access to my daily masterclass. It's anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes every single day. I break down a topic, give it to you in detail, and you have lifetime access to every one that I've ever made. I made over 1,500. That is not an exaggeration. 1,500 masterclasses. Workonyourgameu.com. And he said, read Dre Philosophy. That's what's up. That's a long book. So shout out to anybody who read Dre Philosophy. That's an 800-page book. For basketball, do you have a blueprint? Saleh, do you got this book? You're trying to get attention for basketball. This is the book right here. It's literally called The Blueprint. JN said, when you were getting started with entrepreneurship, did you experience hate from people who knew you or people who were close to you? Not really, because I started my entrepreneurial work when I was still playing ball. I started creating and selling products while I was still playing ball. So people didn't really notice that I was doing entrepreneurial stuff. They was just noticing the basketball stuff. At that time, I was still making YouTube videos. So that was like a newer thing. So people was like, wow, people were still looking at the YouTube videos. So when I started making programs, that was just really just for the basketball players. So other people wasn't really noticing. They was just noticing I was playing ball. So I was playing ball professionally and selling products at the same time. So no, it wasn't like that because I didn't start kind of like from zero, from scratch. I did, but I didn't. I was playing ball while I was doing it. So I didn't deal with hate. But if you ever dealt with any hate, any negative energy from other people, what I would suggest you read, you should start with this and check the box on this page when you order this. There's a little box on the page that says get the full Bulletproof Bundle. That's where you get 4 books, my 4 best books on mindset. So it's this book on discipline. I got my book, The Super You, which is about confidence. The Mental Handbook, which is about mental toughness. And 100 Mental Game Best Practices, which is about personal initiative. So all 4 of the pieces of the Work on Your Game main framework, there are 4 books on it. This is just one of the 4. So when you go to mirrormotivation.com, you put your information in to get this book for free. There's a little box you can check where you can order the full Bulletproof Bundle, and that's the best price you'll ever get on it since this book is already free. And that's at mirrorofmotivation.com. Just check the little box, and you can get all 4 of those books, all 4 of my best mindset books. All right, so this right here, Work on Your Game, Pro Athlete Mindset, Dominate Your Gaming Business, Sports, and Life. I took all the best, most important material for anyone who knows nothing about me and put it in one book. That's this book right here, Work on Your Game. You can get this at workonyourgamebook.com. I'm going to give you $1,200, over $1,200 in digital bonuses when you order this book. So I got about 4 or 5 different things, all that you get access to digitally immediately when you order this. So while you're waiting for this book to come in the mail, then you're going to get those digital bonuses. You can access those today. Then the book will come in the mail in a couple of days. Again, workonyourgamebook.com. This one's mirrormotivation.com. This one's balloverseas.com. These both are already paid for. All you got to do is take care of the shipping. This one, workonyourgamebook.com, hardcover book. Everybody, I do these lives every single day. I may change the time. I might start doing them a little bit later in the day, but we'll see. Unless I announce it on my story, everything's going to stay the same. All you got to do is just turn your notifications on. Just be ready when I go live. But I do these consistently. Y'all already know. Work on Your Game University if you want to learn more from me and learn from me on a consistent basis. And when I say consistent, I mean I got a new show coming out every single day. We do not miss a day. These lives I might not do every day. Work on Your Game University. School is in session every day. Ain't no summertime. Work on your game. Dre all day. We out of here.